Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Here we are again, reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Where are we?
Canto 3, chapter...
Where are we physically? Not metaphysically.
Russell Square Park.
Russell Square Park. I was thinking this is like our local, at least at the moment. It's our local, where it's our go-to park, right? It's just life full of giggles. And where are we in the book?
Canto 3, chapter 29, text 5.
5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 5. My dear Lord, you are just like the sun, for you illuminate the darkness of the conditional life of the living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not open, they are sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter, and therefore they are falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. Purport. It appears that Srimati Devahuti, the glorious mother of Lord Kapila Dev, is very compassionate for the regrettable condition of people in general, who, not knowing the goal of life, are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance. Darkness of illusion. It is the general feeling of the Vaishnava or devotee of the Lord that he should awaken them. Similarly, Devahuti is requesting her glorious son to illuminate the lives of the conditioned souls so that their most regrettable conditional life may be ended. The Lord is described herein as Yoga Bhaskara, the son of the system of all yoga. Devahuti has already requested her glorious son to describe Bhakti Yoga, and the Lord has described Bhakti Yoga as the ultimate yoga system. Doggy.
Thoughts?
Thoughts? It's just that.
Just that?
Hold on, finish. Devahuti's still setting out to her son what she wants him to speak, a bit like when Arjuna was requesting Krishna and setting out, speak about this, speak about that, speak about that, and then we're gonna, she's setting the scene, as it were, and then he'll start answering all these questions. But so far still it's just her requesting that.
Okay. Yeah, I found it. I found it extremely poetic, very inviting and enticing. This verse, my Lord, you are just like the sun. You illuminate the darkness, the conditional life of the living entities. So beautiful. Comparing her son, now of course her son, S-O-N, is being compared to the sun, S-U-N, but she's referring to him because she's considering him God. And then because their eyes, meaning the eyes of the conditioned living entities, that's us, their eyes of knowledge, they're not referring to these eyes, but the eyes, of knowledge, the eyes that are, seeing things, Shastra Chakshus, according to Scripture, are not open. Yes, that's for many of us. And we're sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter. So nice. I just think it's very, very powerful and poetic how we're sleeping eternally in the darkness without the shelter of the Lord. Therefore, we're falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of our material activities. So because we're sleeping in darkness, we're acting in such a way that's in darkness, and we're therefore getting the reactions. And they appear to be very fatigued. And that's a lot of people. They're just like, what is one of the biggest catchphrases? I am sick and tired. Sick and tired of this life. so fed up, so tired. Yeah, people are just fatigued. But somehow or other, people keep trying. So anyway, I think it's very poetic. I like it very much. Okay, any other thoughts? So the next paragraph in this purport. Bhakti Yoga is the sun-like illumination for delivering the conditioned souls whose general condition is described here. They have no eyes to see their own interests. They do not know that the goal of life is not to increase the material necessities of existence, because the body will not exist more than a few years. And we say a few years and we think, oh, I've still got 20, 30, 40, 50 years to live. Of course, I don't think either of us have that, but, at least say 20, 30 years. I mean, it's not going to be much more than 30 years. Let's be real, be honest. I doubt if I live to be 90. If I do, oh God.
We might finish the Bhagavatam.
Yeah. The living beings are eternal and they have their eternal need. If one engages only in caring for the necessities of the body...
What's that?
Just something off the tree. Only caring for the necessities of the body, not caring for the eternal necessities of life, then he is part of a civilization whose advancement puts the living entities in the darkest region of ignorance. So, I'm not sure if you can hear that ambulance siren.
Yeah, back to London.
But that's what we need. We need to wake up the sirens. So, for some of us, it takes, the ambulance or near-death experience to wake us up. So this sentence is very powerful, because it sounds like to me Srila Prabhupada is saying that those of us that engage in only caring for the necessities of the body and not caring for the eternal necessities of life, then we're part of a civilization whose advancement puts the living entities in the darkest region of ignorance. So it means if we don't wake up and realize this situation and start to cultivate a mentality of care and nurture for the soul inside the body, then we're simply contributors to the ongoing suffering of everyone. I think that's very powerful. What is it? If you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And part of the solution is that more people need to wake up from this sleeping on the lap of the witch Maya. And I continue to read. Sleeping in the darkest region, one does not get any refreshment. There's no refreshments in darkness. But rather gradually becomes fatigued. He invests many processes to adjust this fatigue condition, but he fails and thus remains confused. The only path for mitigating this fatigue is, for mitigating his fatigue in the struggle for existence, is the path of devotional service, or the path of Krishna consciousness. So the more we try to become free, there's no refreshment, and that doesn't mean like refreshments like popcorn and soda pop and a chocolate bar. It means refreshment like we don't become refreshed. We just keep getting more and more worn out. Come on, be honest, those of you out there having experience in material life, it just wears us out, wears us down, wears us thin, and burns us out. And there's no refreshment. My thoughts, sorry. I'm on the pulpit today.
Text 6, Sri Maitreya said, O best amongst the Kurus, the great sage Kapila, moved by great compassion and pleased by the words of his glorious mother, spoke as follows. Purport. Lord Kapila was very satisfied by the request of his glorious mother, because she was thinking not only in terms of her personal salvation, but in terms of all the fallen conditioned souls. The Lord is always compassionate towards the fallen souls of this material world, and therefore he comes himself or sends his bona fide servants to deliver them. Since he is perpetually compassionate towards them, if some of his devotees also become compassionate towards them, he is very pleased with the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that persons who are trying to elevate the condition of the fallen souls by preaching the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, namely full surrender unto the personality of Godhead, are very dear to him. Thus, when the Lord saw that his beloved mother was very compassionate towards the fallen souls, he was pleased, and he also became compassionate towards her. So it's if you want to please Krishna, somehow you have to preach or awaken other Krishna consciousness in others. Because Krishna is very, he loves all the conditioned souls, so it pleases him, just as a father, I guess, if like the siblings ain't getting on. It's very upsetting and disturbing if the kids don't get on. It's not like, oh, well, never mind. It's not like in the workplace and you think, oh, well, we just work together, I'll go home, I don't care. It's very hurtful to the parents, so it's very hurtful to Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, it says that it's so funny. It also says that it's so funny. I just want to point out that lady that's just walked behind us, because when we set this camera up, it don't make sense to me because we're talking into the camera, but they don't want to walk like behind it because they're thinking we're filming like a tree. So they walk behind us and then they come in the camera because she hesitated several times like what to do. I just want to say that. But anyway, yeah, just preach.
Nice points. I found it interesting because I was thinking, but then if you read the purport, what was said there, now we extrapolate that mainly because Prabhupada mentions that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. But he says, the Lord is always compassionate towards the fallen souls in this material world, and therefore he comes himself or sends his servants to deliver them. Since he is perpetually compassionate towards them, if some of his devotees also become compassionate towards them, he is very pleased with the devotees. Now, compassion can be expressed in many different ways, right? Now, of course, we understand in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that compassion shouldn't be saving the dress of a drowning man. So it's not that we should just look after the external, we have to look after the internal. But compassion can be exhibited in different ways. And when we're brand new, we exhibit compassion in a certain way. But once someone's been around for a while, compassion may need to be exhibited in another way. And also, as we've discussed before, if your grandma dies and devotees just start quoting Bhagavad Gita verses at you, you may think you're being compassionate on a very high level, but they may not feel an incy wincy piece of compassion coming from you. They may just feel hard-heartedness, which is ironic because that's not necessarily what you want or what you may be doing. But the point is that compassion can be shown in different ways. And what we see here is that Krishna is compassionate for all the living entities because there is parts and parcels, like you said, family. But he's compassionate in many different ways. And he also wants us to be. He's so compassionate for the living entities that he stood on the chariot with Arjuna and told him he had to kill hundreds of thousands of other living entities. That's compassion. That's compassion from his side. Now, compassion can be exhibited in many different ways. Now, don't take that wrong. I'm not encouraging anyone out there to go and kill anyone, or to speak of 100,000 people. But the point is that compassion can be exhibited in different ways.
Okay.
Okay, number 7. Finished with this one. Lord Kapila, the personality of Godhead, replied, "O noble lady." Bloody bug. There he went. Oh, no, it was a drop of water, I think.
That bug tree.
Oh, it is a bug.
Ew.
An ant. He might have flew on the screen there. And there's water dripping off the tree.
This tree's like weird.
Well, no, this is, oh, anyway, I could tell you, I could share some nectar with you from the Venu Gita. Anyone out there who's read Venu Gita by Shiva Maharaj, put it in the thing down there.
Comments.
In the comments, down there, that thing.
Comments.
And, oh, such beautiful nectar. Wow. If we have time at the end, maybe I'll read you a short synopsis, if she'll allow me to, because it's really relevant with the trees and how to see the world. Anyway, number 7. Lord Kapila, the personality of Godhead, replied, "O noble lady, there are multifarious paths of devotional service in terms of the different qualities of the executor." Look at that. Devotional service also isn't in one way like we often think. And we may even say there's 9 processes. But each of those 9 processes can be performed uniquely, individually, and differently according to the executor, the individual. Purport: pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness is one because in pure devotional service there is no demand from the devotee to be fulfilled by the Lord. Okay, important point. But generally people take to devotional service with a purpose. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, people who are not purified take to devotional service for 4 purposes. A person who is distressed because of material conditions becomes a devotee of the Lord and approaches the Lord for mitigation of his distress. A person in need of money approaches the Lord to ask for some improvement in his monetary condition. Others who are not in distress or in need of monetary assistance but are seeking knowledge in order to understand the absolute truth also take to devotional service, and they inquire into the nature of the Supreme Lord. This is very nicely described in the Bhagavad Gita 7:16. Actually, the path of devotional service is one without a second. But according to the devotee's condition, devotional service appears in multifarious varieties, as will be nicely explained in the following verses. So Prabhupada mentions 4 from the Gita in the purport, but he only mentioned 3. Because the 4th one, he mentions the 2 lowest ones and the highest one, but he left out inquisitive. So one who is just generally inquisitive. So there's the inquisitive, and then there's those who are seeking knowledge of the Absolute, of which those who are seeking knowledge of the Absolute is considered the highest. But all of them, according to the Gita and according to Krishna, are considered devotees and considered to be performing devotional service, just at different levels. Not pure devotional service, but devotional service.
Yeah. Which is better than no devotional service.
Yeah, and definitely better than being a demon.
Oh, yeah. Don't be a demon.
Let's get a t-shirt. Don't be a demon.
All right.
Shall we conclude here?
Yeah.
All right, so tune in next time to hear more about the multifarious varieties of devotional service from Lord Kapila Dev. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.